Devastating, to say the least.
Man, Oregon top receiver Evan Stewart just suffered a catastrophic injury, man, a torn patellar tendon, potentially this week, which is a recovery of 6 to 12 months. Likely out for the year. We got to obviously see what that is going to be because, as it says here in this tweet from Pete Nakos of 0-3, depends on the severity of the injury. So how bad is it? But that's a devastating blow because he's a senior wide receiver, obviously one of the top guys. No Tej Johnson anymore. He's supposed to step in the fray as a senior and lead this group. This is what Evan Stewart did last year. 48 catches, 613 yards this past year, 5 touchdowns, 12.8 average. He also cooked some really good opponents this past year. All right, now some of those opponents he cooked, obviously one is Wisconsin. Cooked them in that game, in that close win, 16-13, 10 catches, 92 yards. He also cooked Ohio State, not in the college football playoff, but in that first game of the season that they ended up winning, 7 catches, 149 yards, y'all, and a touchdown. So like I said, this is a monumental loss for Oregon and what they're going to do. Now, who are going to be some guys that replace him, right? You got Justice Lowe. He'll be a guy that stands in there. And you got true freshman, former 5-star recruit out of Duncanville, Texas, DeCorian Moore. Now, DeCorian Moore is a dude, you know what I'm saying? But that is a lot to ask of a freshman. But he could be one of those very few ones that we see tears it up as a freshman, has a similar impact than a Jeremiah Smith or a Ryan Williams potentially had in that first year. Now, that is lofty expectations, but that kid is a stud, and every time he's on the big stage, he performs. Now, there's another kid I also want to point out here as well, and their offensive coordinator feels very high about him, Will Stein. He said he's one of the best, obviously, players in the country, right? And that's Keon Sadiq, who's the tight end, 6'3", 250-plus pounds. He's going to play a big role for Oregon this year. I think him coupled with Stewart, they felt really great. But now you're going to have to bend heavily on, obviously, Sadiq, the young guy, obviously, DeCorian Moore, and now Justice Lowe in order to kind of come in there and make some noise. So it is a big blow, obviously, for the Oregon fan base. But they do have some pieces in there that they feel pretty good about. But now everybody as a unit is going to have to step up, right? And this is a big move, in a big year for Dante Moore, who's going to be their quarterback. Former 5-star, played at UCLA. They're going to have to depend a lot on him this year. And you got to make sure he has the weaponry in order to make some noise. And you know Oregon wants to get their get back, especially after going out like how they did in the college football playoff to Ohio State. We will obviously see what happens. I doubt we get a matchup like that early now, especially with the new seeding model in college football. So I doubt we see those two teams play that early. But nonetheless, you know Oregon wants to get their get back. And this is a devastating blow, especially being in the summer workouts, getting prepped for the season before fall camp. Devastating blow, but we will see how Oregon rebounds from this and who's going to be some of the young guys. They're going to have to depend on some guys to step up big for them this upcoming season. And the biggest question is going to be who's ready for this moment, who is ready to make Dan Lanning look smart. We're going to find out, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, but devastating blow for the Oregon Ducks.